What a pleasure to be with you. Aspiring to be a minister of mercy, to become a minister of mercy. I approach the topic of gender and the Urantia Book with profound respect for those with whom I disagree. Hoping to reduce confusion and to enhance clarity, I offer these thoughts. The book is given to serve our world for 1,000 years. It is not a tool of evangelism or mass communication. It is up to us to express truth appropriately to the individual, group, or generation that we are privileged to address. The Urantia Book is a resource guiding us in its application in a very wide variety of situations. The book refers to the personality of the first source and center as Father. It speaks of brotherhood and man as inclusive terms intended to include women. Clearly intended. People are encouraged to find their own names for God. The equality of women with men is clearly emphasized. Moreover, with each advancing epoch in human knowledge, the philosophic concept and the theologic definitions of God must change. This authoritative revelation makes remarkable room for freedom, flexibility, and growth. Spiritual unity does not depend on people thinking alike. But some people regard the father concept of God as a projection of a biological and sociological male onto God. This is the confusion that concerns me. Jesus clarified the confusion. He replied to Thomas, Thomas, how long before you will acquire the ability to listen with the ear of the Spirit? How long will it be before you discern that this kingdom is a spiritual kingdom and that my Father is also a spiritual being? Do you not understand that I am teaching you as spiritual children in the spirit family of heaven, of which the Fatherhead is an infinite and eternal spirit? Will you not allow me to use the earthly family as an illustration of divine relationships without so literally applying my teaching to material affairs? In your minds, cannot you separate the spiritual realities of the kingdom from the material, social, economic, and political problems of the age? When I speak the language of the Spirit, why do you insist on translating my meaning into the language of the flesh, just because I presume to employ commonplace and literal relationships for the purpose of illustration? My children, I implore that you cease to apply the teaching of the kingdom of the Spirit to the sordid affairs of slavery, poverty, houses, and lands, and to the material problems of human equity and justice. These temporal matters are the concern of the men of this world. While in a way they affect all men, You have been called to represent me in the world, even as I represent my Father. You are spiritual ambassadors of a spiritual kingdom, special representatives of the Spirit Father. By this time, it should be possible for me to instruct you as full-grown men of the Spirit Kingdom. Must I ever address you only as children? Will you never grow up in spiritual perception? Nevertheless, I love you and will bear with you, even to the very end of our association in the flesh. And even then shall my spirit go before you into all the world. All right, Jesus here is speaking to his apostles. This is the Lesson on the Family, paper 142, section 7, on page 1605 in the classic pagination. Among the many things, very helpful things that Jesus says here, I would emphasize that revelation is a top-down gift of higher perspective, not a bottom-up projection of human images onto God. And revelation does not enter into the level of culture wars, clashes of mind, and wars of opinion that obscure the quest for insight. As we attempt to participate responsibly in this topic, as the will of God seems to direct, let us always remember the abundant mercy, compassionate understanding, and generous patience with which we are divinely led if we really desire to attain the heights, step by step, in wisdom and gentleness. In my website, urantiabookprojects.org, in the section on the Urantia Book movement, I include the previous words and include links to 3 essays, one on the importance of replacing confusion by clear thinking, one on the difficulties of speaking of God as Father today, and one on gender in the Urantia Book. With all the room in the Urantia papers for flexibility and freedom in the way we think and speak about God, I believe it is permissible and more than permissible to close with this statement of the importance of the Father concept of God. Jesus said that Buddha, having failed to envision God as a spirit and as a father, failed to provide in his teaching the moral energy and spiritual driving power which a religion must have if it is to change a race and exalt a nation. Happy using your moral energy and spiritual driving power wisely. Good day.